something that it was sticking in my head from many
By
years.
nits, Peter?
No. No, over and above that, when I used a well-known shampoo to get rid of them, one of the things that was sticking in my head was, what influenced you, what came into your mind in 1967 to suddenly think, I think I'm going to sing the Celtic song in the tunnel next to Inter Milan?
Well, I didn't. That was something I wasn't really thinking about doing. But what it was the referee had stopped us, and the camera people were up at the top, and we were hesitant maybe for 2 or 3 minutes, and they were all immaculate, Peter. You want to have seen their teeth, honestly.
Yeah.
I think Jim.
Were you that close?
Well, I didn't kiss him or anything like that. Oh, no. But what I was going to say, Jim Craig looked as if he was busy, but I think he had the guns in that. And as you can appreciate, as you're looking across and you're saying, hey, come here, is this Hollywood? And such like. And then I'm looking back at wee Jinky, and he had his teeth in his hat, and running or him, you know what I mean? But then I says to myself, this is an occasion where they're holding the gauntlet and I says, I wonder if they can sing. I know we'll beat them because we're better players than them, but can they sing? And that's when I burst into the song. But you see, that was something we did, and football clubs do, and the bus going to games and such like. So it wasn't something strange for us to do. I was just the most fortunate guy that just started to sing.
Yeah.
Hail, hail, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and did you feel it unnerved them?
Well, let me put it this way. I don't think it unnerved them, but it changed their colour.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ruffy, if you think about it, I mean, you know, when you're in a tunnel, you've played Wembley, Scotland, England. It's a big occasion. It's a European Cup final. Suddenly, you start to get it. I mean, I think, and they probably have taken a leaf out of your book, Bertie, but I think Kenny Dalglish mentioned that Liverpool, when they were in the tunnel, suddenly they started singing Chris Rea, I don't know what it is, but I love it, because it was their favourite song, and suddenly their opposition started to get a little unnerved because the Liverpool players were singing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realise that standing in the tunnel is just as important as going out onto the game. The things that are going through your mind, and everybody's standing there, obviously they're not talking to you, you're not talking to them. And it is quite a tense moment because everything's going through your head, how the game's going to go and everything. And a light-hearted moment like that would just relax everybody, but obviously it would confuse them, you know, what's happening here. And I think it's a great move.
Ruffy, honestly, you played at Celtic Park and you know what the situation and the atmosphere is and such like. In our day, when we were playing at Celtic Park, the boss Jock started it. And what he would do in the dressing room, he would say, here, listen, come here, go out there and play. First and foremost, you have the ability, you wouldn't be at Celtic Park, entertain. So all this is going on, and we're wearing the hoops, Peter. The jersey started to get tighter and tighter. Here's your gaffer turning and saying, you have the ability, entertain. You're going out here, this support is paying, working hard all week to pay good money to see you, entertain. So that's in the dressing room. But as he opens the door to let you out, just before, as you know, Ruffy, you get a wee chance to get a handle in the ball, and we get a chance to shoot and get loosen up and such like. As we're coming out of the dressing room, going towards the tunnel, all of a sudden the opposition's there, and Jock shouting, entertain. The support's paid good money to see you have ability, entertain. So you could see them turn around because he was, he was a massive person.
Yeah.
So that's what was through us, you know. I mean, I think he could have been Prime Minister if he wanted it. I only wish he would be there now because we'd still earning a few quid, you know.
That's just great, isn't it, Ruffy? We're getting politics thrown in there, we're getting history, it's all there, and we'll get his assessment.
But as a Celtic player, you have to have politics.
Yeah.
You know, it's very important that you're a Celtic player. This is a football club, but I promise you, I signed when I was 16 years of age. This is a way of life, Peter. Celtic is a way of life, 24 hours a day. I used to criticise Mr. Kelly. I didn't criticise him to his face, but I used to say, oh, that's not true, because I loved going to the likes of Locarno on a Tuesday night and a Thursday night as a young teenager, because that's the thing you did.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
But you got to go when you didn't win the dance-off final. I mean, I know you got to it twice, but, you know, Tommy Gemmell ended up beating you.
He did, but I won it for kissing.
Yeah.
It's a good point he makes, because I think that's why you're saying it's a way of life. And when you've been brought up in it. You know, I think that's why when players come from other clubs, it takes them. It just hits them.
That's right.
It doesn't matter what big club you're at. It just hits you because you've never experienced it before.
Well, let me flip that on its head then, because you said you signed for Celtic when you were 16.
16, yes.
Well, I can remember actually sitting in Jimmy Johnston's house. I was doing an interview for STV, and Jimmy was sitting in the house, and we were reflecting on his career. And he said to me, you know, it was great, it was your life, just exactly what you said. And then he said, you know, but the hardest part for me was when Jock Stein said, you know, it's over, that's it. And Jimmy and I were sitting talking, and he's, you know, almost reduced to tears, you know, recalling the day when he walked out into the car park.
I was in Celtic Park that day when it happened.
Yeah.
But I was already been transferred. I got a free and went to Hibs. And I was at Celtic Park for some reason or other. And you know what happened, Peter? Jimmy and I were very, very close, and closer nearly later in life, you know what I mean? And he passed by me as if I wasn't there, and he ran. I actually ran out the doors. Never spoke to anybody.
Yeah.
So that's how hard it hit him.
Well, how did it hit you then? Because you left Celtic, you know, before the.
I think everybody knows. Ruffy will tell you this because goalkeepers are a very difficult job. Everybody knows. Big Jock used to say to me before I went on to the park, in case I was going to get sent off, he says, Bert, see if count to 10 before you get up. But at one time, this is not kidding, I'd be up at 3-1 to kick somebody. No, seriously, you've either got that, Peter, or you've not. You know that, Ruffy, isn't it? You need to have that. I knew it when I was still sitting in my backside when I was counting to 40. So, you know what I mean? You know, nobody needs to tell you when it's time. And in the situation at Celtic Park, you cannot be greedy. You can't look and say, no, I could have done another season, I could have done that. I knew because we trained with the Maccaris, the Wilsons, the Conleys,
Yeah,
the
but
Hayes.
it was on about the first time around for you. You went to Birmingham.
No, I went to Dumbarton first, and then I come back from Dumbarton, and then in '61 I went to Birmingham.
Yeah.
But you see, the thing is, I'll tell you what has actually happened. The day that Jock was manager of Dunfermline and beat us in the Wednesday, it was a replay in the Wednesday. Well, I played at Tynecastle that night in the Celtic reserves, and I scored 4 goals, right, in the reserves. And as I get in, Jimmy Gribben, a beautiful man, ex-miner, he was in charge of the reserves at that time. And he says, oh, the first team got beat. So you could picture it. It's your club. It's all your pals that you train with, you dine with and such like. And I knew what like the dressing room would be there.